What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday afternoon so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk real quickly about AEW and the fact that they have big plans going into the future, but it looks like a couple of their, at one point, popular YouTube series have been canceled for the time being. Doesn't mean they can't be brought back in the future, but right now, both those shows have been canceled for the moment. And that, of course, is the popular YouTube series, one of them that's been going on since the inception of the show, all the way back in 2019, and the other one who has been starting up since 2021, and that, of course, is AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation. And the reason why these two shows have been canceled, and this is according to Andrew Zarian, that AEW is canceling their two Dark shows, AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, for very good reasons. It might disappoint some fans who liked watching AEW on YouTube, but the company has bigger plans. As the company is set for a new Saturday show soon called AEW Collision, and that all AEW content must be exclusive to Warner Brothers Discovery, which obviously meant the two YouTube shows wouldn't be able to continue at their current status that they had before because of the fact they were only exclusive to the YouTube universe and they were not exclusive to Warner Brothers Discovery going forward. So it's a shame that this is going to be happening. This in part has to do with AEW signing a new deal for AEW Collision to air on Saturdays. That's been the big rumor that's been going around, is that the new show AEW Collision is set to debut on June 18th this year down in Chicago in the United Center, and that's when the show is exclusively supposed to be on at 8 to 10 p.m., sort of like AEW Dynamite, but it's going to be their SmackDown version of AEW Dynamite. So they're going to be, AEW Collision is expected to be SmackDown version of what Dynamite is of their Raw, compared to the WWE. Part of the new deal is that AEW wrestling content will exclusively air on Warner Brothers Discovery. As of today, that does not include Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor right now might be having their own streaming service going forward, and some fans may be disappointed that the two weekly shows, all of their content certainly have a lot of beef in terms of the AEW library, especially AEW Dark, which is pretty much, like I mentioned, been part of the show all the way since the beginning when AEW first became a thing, all the way back in 2019, and AEW Elevation was a thing back in 2021. But all the content certainly did have a lot of beef in the AEW library that also captured some good action and entertained a lot of people through the process. AEW's new Saturday show will be a big change for the company, and it will give fans another show to watch. And AEW Rampage is going to keep on going, but their two Dark shows had to go away. The one thing that I really enjoyed about AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, but especially AEW Dark, is you got to see some homegrown talents or independent wrestlers that started out on the independent scene make their way through AEW Dark and then eventually get recognized on AEW television. Talents such as Lee Johnson, Lee Moriarty, Powerhouse Hobbs, Tay Conti, just to name a few. Skye Blue, Willow Nightengale. There's been a lot of talents that have come through that AEW Dark universe, as well as some talents that started out in AEW Dark that even got signed by WWE. Nathan Fraser being one of them, Cora Jade, Fallon, Henley, just to name a few, all started out on AEW Dark and then eventually got called over to WWE, and some of them have even become prominent superstars on the WWE side. And like I mentioned, some of the original talents that were part of AEW Dark have now been part of the AEW Dynamite and Rampage series going forward. So AEW Dark and Elevation have had their fair share of success when it comes to stars homegrown through the system that got called up and eventually got their breakthrough on AEW television, whether it was with Dynamite or Rampage, or either other stars that were let go or didn't stay with AEW and went on to WWE and instead became very big superstars within the company going forward. So you have to look at that aspect when it comes to AEW Dark and the importance of the company. And this is obviously a very nice thing to see, is that AEW is looking to expand their production and expand their programming going forward, but it's a shame that AEW Dark and AEW Elevation had to eventually bite the bullet in terms of being part of the production, because they want to have Warner Brothers Discovery be exclusive to broadcasting all this stuff going forward. Either way, maybe one day you will get to see the return of AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation in the near future, if in fact Warner Brothers Discovery can make some type of exclusive deal where they'll be able to broadcast these programs on YouTube, as well as try to keep it within the rotation, because it does serve, like I mentioned, a very important purpose. Some talents that aren't featured as much on AEW get to be featured on Dark or Elevation to hone their craft. Some younger talents coming through the system, as well as independent wrestlers looking to try to make a name for themselves. AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation were the two programs that got to feature a lot of these young talents that can go out there and showcase their abilities and see if they can make an impact going forward onto AEW television. So hopefully one day we will get to see the return of these two programs. For now, it looks like that looks like Dark and Elevation have been tabled, and they're not going to be coming back anytime soon because of the fact that AEW is looking to expand their programming going forward. But it does not mean we may not see the return of these two popular wrestling franchises on YouTube for All Elite Wrestling. A lot of good stars, I'm going to keep saying, a lot of good stars came out of these two developmental systems, these two developmental programs for All Elite Wrestling. And the question is right now, will we potentially see them make the return in the near future, or is it going to be a distant memory and we get to relive some of the memories of some of the stars that have come up through the system through AEW Dark and through AEW Dark Elevation throughout the past 4 years, and what could be next for All Elite Wrestling in terms of their programming going into 2023 and beyond. Smash that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYGJeffyT85. More news updates and chatter surrounding All Elite Wrestling. Turn on the bell for notifications of the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding All Elite Wrestling AEW. And let me know in the comment section what you think about AEW canceling their two YouTube series, AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, for good creative reasons, because of AEW Collision making its debut on June 18th, 2023, at a new era starting in All Elite Wrestling. And if we could possibly see the return of AEW Dark and Elevation in the future for All Elite Wrestling going forward. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Hump Day Wednesday. Take it easy, and let's see what All Elite Wrestling has cooking in the pot for AEW Dynamite today, AEW Rampage on Friday, and for the eventual debut of AEW Collision later on this spring and summer.